The right trade would be the breaking retest below here. The only thing I don't love is this already have made $2 move down, but that's not to say we're not going to see another $2 down. It's just not ideal already having moved that much. Ideally, I wanted to see the reject up here, but we went early. So now you kind of see here this flat bottom at SPY demand bottom here. If we can pull down and flush it, sets up a nice break and retest opportunity there. We are getting a little extended from our EMAs, but this was the area. This zone was the area I want to see hold as our lower higher time frame was. That's where that fib was, and we were rejecting hard from it. So I'm a fan of that break and retest below if we can get it, but it's patience at this point. I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for this setup all morning now, so if we can get it here, that would be pretty nice. Good testament to patience and not forcing moves when your setups aren't there. Just kind of staying patient for the right moves. A lot of patience on the day. A lot of tempting setups all around here, but this was the move that I've been waiting for, setting up that break and retest, which I am now going to be watching here. The only thing I don't love is we've already moved down $2.50 from the reject area, so not ideal, but this is the setup I was watching. I'm going to give it an opportunity to see if it's going to confirm anything. If not, it's fine. If we do, I'm going to give it a shot and kind of just go from there, see what we get. You're going to see confirmation under here now for an entry. If we're going to get it, I want to see confirmation breaking that 495.6 area. Does look decent here, but gotta still wait for the proper confirmations. Yeah, this is why you don't rush the entry when it doesn't confirm. You never gave an entry. It might still, but it hasn't yet, so. So this is the zone top here. Oh. You gotta be careful of that now. That is a pretty extreme wick there. Let's see if this confirms here. I'll be interested. So still interested in this reject here. These contracts are getting a little cheap though. It's getting late. I don't usually like to see them this cheap. Cheap, cheap, cheap. And I'm in these. I risk about 80. Only thing I'd be careful about is this 15-minute. We got to see a flush like right away. So I want to see this flush like right away. You gotta get that 15-minute to close the right way. That's why I'm saying that, but see if we can get this trim here. We did. Very nice. The rest of the position goes to break even on the stop. Going to be now looking for probably a break of this 495 4-ish. So we are late in this session. This is usually past when I usually trade, but a little bit lighter of a position for me. So gonna look to not looking to hold these all day long. If we can get some momentum pops down, I'll look to trim. Set the rest break even. See where that break even stop is. Yeah. I like this spot where that is. So we can get some momentum pushes down here. Gonna look to, yeah, there we go. Yeah, look to trim on it. If we can get a good pop here, a good pop down here, I'm gonna look to trim some. Yeah, there it is. Beautiful. This was actually such a clean trade. I'm so happy with how I traded this, because this price action here was tempting, but never confirmed an entry. And this was the one that finally did. So that was a very, very clean trade. Pretty happy with how I executed that. To be honest, I was very tempted in taking some of these moves early, but my play here, I'd like to reject up here, but we never reached this. So to me, it just became a patience game, because it's very easy to get tempted and saying, okay, well, there's opportunities here and opportunities here, and I'll admit it, I've missed a few trades the last couple of days. I've kind of been a little bit trigger shy. I just been hesitating on some entries and just dealing with some other things outside of trading. So getting in a position like that where you kind of come into the day like with a mindset like I need to trade, and it's not that. So it's just patience, and this is a move that I liked in the pre-market. I was watching for from the pre-market, waiting for this flush of demand to get this retest here, and even furthering that, waiting on the actual retest. Once we got it, I stayed very patient. This was the right entry. The one that I took was the right entry. So I'm going to set that the break even, just so I'm talking through this. I'm not really have to look at that, but this was the right trade, or the right entry. Here was kind of tempting. Again, waiting the whole morning for it. It was easy to kind of just hop in right away, but this was the move that gave the entry there. So good confirmations on that, and worked out pretty much right away. Again, a little bit lighter than I typically take position sizes, so it's just a little bit later in the session. I'm usually done by 11 a.m., but this was setting up nicely, and I want to stay patient for it, so staying a little bit later. If this comes to get the break-even stop, it is fine. Pretty fine on how I executed those first couple of trims, and now is really where I gotta let these run. Even if this does come back to stop me, it is okay, because gotta be able to make those R to R's make sense. So if I'm gonna be willing to get in a trade and risk a certain amount, I gotta let those runners run and really make the R to R make sense with what I'm taking. So I like where this break even stop is lining up. I don't want to see us reclaim this zone bottom. So that does make sense for me in that regard. Actually, I'm going to take a look at how the 15. As I was mentioning, as I was getting in, I wanted to see that 15 push right away. Yeah, that was actually really nice. Good close on that 15. This might come back to hit my break-even stop. It might, and that's okay if it does. But this was the right trade to take. Whether it works out, whether it doesn't, these are trades that I got to put risk on for and let the market do what it does. But that was pretty smooth. I mean, worked out almost right away, relatively low, if any, drawdown, and now sitting in a position where it might come to hit the break-even stop, but I still like how it looks, even if it does. Oh, that's close. It is very close to that break-even stop. It is so close. It is 1 cent off the break-even stop. Oh my gosh. See if we get him. It's got to hold here for sure. Oh, not Siri. This would be the spot to hold. So if we can hold here, I might look to trim some into this break here, and ultimately low day break. But I might look to trim maybe 1 or 2 off on this break here, or this recent low. Let's see. If this holds here, that would be ideal for more downside here. I don't like this close on this 5-minute. I'm not a huge fan of that, but let's see if we can move down here. We almost have a little bear flag going on, actually. You look like that, we almost have a bear flag going on. So the only thing is, it is later in the day, so this data might start eating away these contracts if the move takes too long. But if we can get a break here, I'd be interested in trimming on this low, breaking this flag here, get a momentum pop. That was a very smooth entry. Even if this trade doesn't really give the rest of the move, that was a very, very good entry in terms of waiting for the right confirmations on it, and very good patience on the day in terms of just waiting for all this mess to happen, not forcing any trades with FOMO or whatever it is, but waiting for the right move with this break and retest, which just looks very clean right now. Let's see if we can get this break. We didn't break this low here, this recent low. We'll look to trim some. Ideally, get that low popping into the low a day. If we can break this little bear flag we got going on here. Let's see if we can get it. And just on these contracts, all I'm looking for is to catch some momentum. So I want to see these break and catch those pops. I don't want to get greedy, but I don't want to be trimming before those momentums, when the pops start coming in, because that's when you start seeing those real hikes and jumps on the contracts. So see if we can get it. If we break this flag here, I think we might get at least some type of move. We're trying to hold this trend line, so it's not ideal. It's not saying it's invalidating it, but as I mentioned earlier, we have to start keeping in mind about what data is going to do to these contracts, being 0 TTEs later in the day. So just going to set that break even and just let it do what it does. It might come and get it. It really could. But the right thing for me to do is to hold these. So even with these kind of ugly 5-minute candles, this was the right trade to take. It doesn't matter if we don't see it fall through or if we do. I mean, it was the right trade to take. This might be coming for that break even. We are so close. Yeah. Got it. All right.